Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Colin. Good evening. Welcome to the 2018 Young Caymanian Leadership Awards. Thank you all very much for coming out to join us this evening as we celebrate another year of outstanding Young Caymanian leadership in our community. Your Excellency, the Governor of the Cayman Islands, Mr. Martin Roper, Mrs. Roper, the Honourable Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson and Mrs. Manderson, the Honourable Minister of Financial Services and Home Affairs, Ms. Tara Rivers, Member of the Legislative Assembly and Councillor from the Ministries of Finance and Economic Development and Education, Ms. Barbara Connolly, Member of the Legislative Assembly and Councillor from the Ministries of Sport and Transport, Mr. David White, Member of the Legislative Assembly and Councillor from the Ministry of Human Resources, Immigration and Community Affairs, Mr. Austin Harris, Acting Chief Officer from the Ministry of Education, Mr. Tonya Cacho, Chief Advisor to the Deputy Governor, Ms. Mary Rodriguez, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Derek Byrne and Mrs. Byrne, YCLA guest speaker, Mr. Spencer West, 2018 YCLA finalists, YCLA alumni, sponsors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the 2018 Young Caymanian Leadership Awards. Thank you. Almost got it. Almost got it. My name is Chris Duggan. On behalf of my colleagues on the Honorary Board of the YCLA, it's my pleasure to welcome you all here this evening to the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa and to the 2018 Young Caymanian Leadership Awards, where we're once again recognizing outstanding Young Caymanian leadership in our community. For close to 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, the YCLA has been recognizing outstanding leadership in the Cayman Islands, and tonight is no different as we welcome another 5 incredible young leaders to the YCLA family. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our 2018 YCLA finalists. On my far right, we've got Stacey Scott, we have Samuel Young, we have Casey Mobley, we have Wilbur Welcome, and we have Ms. Kimberly Connolly. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2018 YCLA finalists. And before we go on, we're going to get to know our finalists a little bit more, ask them a few questions. But first of all, congratulations to all of you being recognized and nominated as a YCLA finalist. It's a tremendous honor. It's a tremendous privilege. It's also a huge responsibility as you're now part of the YCLA family. And from here on in, you're going to be recognized in the community as leaders in the community, but also you'll be encouraged and expected to continue to encourage young Caymanian leadership in our community. I know tonight's a night full of nerves. I know you're all nervous. I remember a few years ago when I was in your position, but I would just encourage you all to enjoy the night, have fun. You're all incredible leaders. You've done amazing things throughout your lives and your careers, and we're going to ask you a few questions now, then you can go back, sit down, and enjoy the rest of the evening. But I think it's important that we let the audience get to know you a little bit, ask you a few questions, and then you can go and enjoy the evening. So I'm going to start the first question. It'll be the same question for all of you. As you know, the theme of this evening is It Takes a Village. And all of you, I'm sure, have been influenced in some way, shape, or form by external influences throughout your lives and as you've been going through your career. So if you can just tell us who or what is your village? Who's been your village throughout your life? And we'll start with Stacey over there.
Sure, thanks, Chris. I think I've had several different villages throughout the course of my life. First of all, starting off, I suppose, with my education, my teachers at West End Primary School, and then Cayman Brac High School, which is now Lehman East Senior High School, and now as a professional, my colleagues at KPMG, and there are actually people from each of those villages here tonight, so thank you very much for your presence and your support. I think if I had to speak very generally, my village would be obviously my family and my friends, and then perhaps more widely Cayman Brac. So I grew up on the Brac, and it's a very, very small community, only a couple thousand people, and I think we celebrate each other's successes. One person's success is another person's, and I've been very fortunate to have an entire island really backing me my whole life. So yeah, I would say that's my village.
Great, thank you very much, Stacey. And Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Good night, everyone. So most immediately, and I would say most intimately, it would be my family, my friends, my educators, ultimately, I think about how connected we are in this world through technology. Even right now, we're being streamed on Facebook Live. Ultimately, I feel like the world is my village.
Thank you, Sam. Well done, Sam. And over to Casey.
Thank you, Chris. Good night, everyone. I think I would answer very similarly to Samuel in saying that I believe that all of humanity is my village, and I really think that through our interconnectedness that we are accountable for one another, and that there should be a requirement to support one another. I feel especially honored to have so much support in my own life, and there are a lot of people within my village that have contributed to my development and shared in me being who I am, and a lot of them are here, so thank you.
Thank you, Casey. And Wilbur.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I think similar to my colleagues, it's mainly my family, my friends, my church family. It's just the whole community as a whole is my village, from doctors to nurses, teachers, colleagues, co-workers. I mean, you name it, everybody has helped shape and mold me to who I am today.
Thank you very much, Wilbur. And last but not least, Kim.
Thank you, Chris. Good night, everyone. My village is made up of a plethora of persons, simply too long to list. However, there's two that I would like to acknowledge tonight. They both passed within 48 hours of each other this year. My godmother, Virginia Castillo, and my granduncle, Raymond Barnes. They were my disciplinary, they were my confidant, they were my shoulder, they were my crutch. And I'm sad that they're not here tonight, but in terms of my core villagers, those would be the two that I would have to name tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. Sorry for your losses. So the first question is out of the way. We can relax and calm down. In the rehearsal last night, one of the answers to that question was the Appleton estate. So I'm glad we've progressed a little further from that. I'm not going to mention who said that, but we've moved on. We've moved on. And anyway, the second question, it's all about leadership tonight. And I think if I asked everyone in the room tonight what their definition of leadership is, we'd probably get 300 different answers. It's a word that's often used but has so many definitions. So I'm interested to hear what our 5 finalists this evening think of leadership, what their definition of leadership is. So if you could all just tell us in a few words what your definition of leadership is. We'll start over to my right this side. Wilbur's got the microphone, so why don't we start with Wilbur? You should pass it on.
So to me, leadership is obtaining the skills, qualifications, respect, and trust of people to make them willing and wanting to follow you.
Perfect. Thank you, Wilbur. Over to Kim.
Leadership for me is the ability to unlock a person's potential by the way that you live your life, by coaching and mentoring them so that they're better persons, whether individually, personally, or professionally.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Who has the microphone? Stacy.
Passed it when I had the
You should
chance,
have done.
Chris.
You should have done.
Should have learned from Wilbur's mistake. I think leadership is several things. There's obviously the textbook definition, which most of us are more familiar with, but I think ultimately leadership, or good leadership, is empowering people to be the best version of themselves and to, as Kim said, unlock their full potential. I think sometimes we hesitate for various reasons to attempt things that we've been wanting to attempt, and leadership is giving someone the courage to say, you know what, why not me? Why not you? Why not us together?
Great. Thank you, Stacy. And Sam.
Thank you. So for me, I think about John Maxwell. He has a saying. He says, a leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way to others.
Thank you very much. And Casey.
To me, leadership is about cultivating a lifestyle of integrity that empowers people and mobilizes people to be the best version of themselves. And I really think that that has to do with finding one's healthiest soul and having a soul that is well with yourself and with the world.
Great. So you can keep it. Thank you very much, Casey. Thank you all So now just one last question before you get back to your seats. Growing up in the Cayman Islands, everyone who's grown up here knows that we're a country rich in heritage and culture. So growing up and even now, if you can tell us what is your favorite part of Caymanian culture? And Casey has the microphone.
I made the same mistake as Wilbur and Stacy. My favorite aspect of Caymanian culture is, first of all, the Cayman kind hospitality that we offer and just how welcoming we are to so many different nationalities. Cayman wouldn't be the same without all of the diversity and all of the people that we embrace. And secondly, it is our resilient spirit and our history of resiliency in spite of hardships. We know that Cayman wasn't always a big tourism industry. We weren't always a huge financial sector. We had a lot of hardships in our history, and I'm really proud of how we have grown from that and how we continue to embody that resilience.
Excellent. Thank you, Casey.
So for me, I think my most favorite part of my Caymanian culture would be Cayman Thanksgiving. The reason being, I get to enjoy my mother's food, and also it's a place where my family, extended family, and friends, we're all in the same actual space, connecting together in a physical way.
Cool. Thank you, Sam. Stacy.
I think my favorite part is very similar to Casey's, the people really, and just echoing what she said earlier, we weren't always the country and the force that we are today, and it is due to our resilience, but also I think due to the fact that we were willing to help one another. So if someone went off and got an education or found a job or a trade, they came back and they shared that with someone else. And I think that says a lot about the kind of people and the kind of the character that we have here in Cayman that's still being preserved even today.
Great. Thank you, Stacy. Who's up? Who's holding the mic?
I tried to give Wilmer the mic, and he said no.
You wouldn't
thank
take
you.
it.
For me, my favorite part of Caymanian culture and heritage would have to be our tenacity, as Stacy and Casey alluded to. But the second part is the food and fellowship. When we come together as one and just enjoy the stories of turtling, roping between the islands, and how we as a small nation rise to the occasion. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kim.
I think I'll echo what my fellow finalists have said. To me, I'm torn between the people and the food. So I don't know which one is best, but I love the people, especially when you visit someone's house and they try to ply you with food. So to me, it's a combination of the both. So it's hard to choose between the two.
Great. Well, we have a lot of both here tonight, so you're going to have a good night tonight. But thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Your work is done for the night. One of you will have one more thing to do, just a little thing to do at the end of the show. But thank you all for coming up, sharing your thoughts. You may go back to your seats. Enjoy the rest of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our 2018 YCLA finalists. Go ahead. Let me help you down. Okay. Say that for me. Well done. Thank you all again. Enjoy the evening now. Breathe and relax and have fun. All right, before we go on, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to recognize and extend a very warm Caymanian welcome to our new governor, Mr. Martin Roper, and to his wife, Elizabeth. Your Excellency and Mrs. Roper, you're very welcome here tonight. On behalf of the Young Caymanian Leaders Foundation and the Honorary Board of the YCLA, we welcome you to the Cayman Islands, and we hope that your time in Cayman is one of great happiness, health, and success, and we certainly look forward to working with you on this initiative and many other initiatives. So welcome to the Cayman Islands, and thank you all, or thank you both very much for joining us tonight. And also, ladies and gentlemen, on a night that we're celebrating outstanding Caymanian leadership, it's very appropriate that we also have the Deputy Governor here with us this evening. And we'd certainly be remiss as an organization that celebrates leadership if we didn't recognize him this evening. Leadership can be defined in so many different ways, and good leaders exhibit so many different qualities. And I think we'd all agree that back in June, when the country was thrown into a degree of uncertainty following the recall of our then governor, Mr. Manderson really stepped up to the plate, and after steadying the ship, he guided us through the turbulent and uncertain times with the highest levels of professionalism and integrity. And he did so seamlessly and with great efficiency, as he always does. Mr. Manderson is a fine example of outstanding Caymanian leadership, who's time and time again stepped up to the plate like this. And we'd like to recognize him and thank him for all he's done and for all he continues to do for the Cayman Islands. And certainly thank him for being a fine example of leadership for all of our youth to emulate. Thank you very much, friends. And I think those of you that know Mr. Manderson, regardless of what he has on his plate, regardless of how much work he's got or how much stress he has, if you ask him, Franz, how are you doing? He's always doing wonderful, beautiful. He's a man of incredible positivity. So thank you again, Franz. So I alluded earlier, ladies and gentlemen, to the fact that the YCLA has been recognizing and rewarding outstanding young Caymanian leadership for close to 20 years. But why are we here? Why do we come together each year to celebrate these outstanding young Caymanian leaders? Why is it necessary, and what exactly does it achieve? Well, too often we open the newspaper each day and we read another story about a young person that's been arrested, or about another young person that's been killed, or about another young person that's strayed down the wrong path in life. This really is not necessary, and this absolutely should not be happening. We're fortunate enough to live in one of the safest jurisdictions in our region that provides unparalleled opportunities to young Caymanians to enjoy successful careers and to live prosperous lives. But far too often, this is not happening. And far too regularly, our youth are choosing different paths that are leading them into police stations and prisons rather than into jobs and homes. While we as a community can only do so much to help, our theme this evening, It Takes a Village, encapsulates that notion. This does not mean that an entire village is responsible for raising our children, nor does it entitle any parent to abdicate their fundamental responsibility of raising their children. But what it does mean, though, is that it takes an entire community of different people and organizations interacting with our youth in order for our young people to grow and prosper in a safe and successful environment. It's not up to the police, it's not up to the government, it's not up to individual youth-focused NPOs. It's up to all of us to work together toward this common goal. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why we're here this evening. And to this end, we must continue to identify, develop, recognize, and promote all young Caymanians that are prepared to be upstanding leadership role models for our youth. Role models that are going to choose the right path, and role models that are going to be the next generation of leaders. We need to identify and showcase those individuals that are going to prove that it does not pay to go the other way, and that are going to live their lives leading the youth of our country the right way. We need to harness their dedication and their determination to make a difference in our community and to ensure that they dominate the headlines for all the right reasons. We need them to change the mindsets of those that might otherwise follow a different path to that of the exemplary ones followed by each one of our finalists this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what the YCLA is about. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why we're here tonight. So last year, we were delighted to announce the exciting partnership between the YCLA and the Cayman Islands government. And as I alluded to last year, too often our world leaders don't engage with young people of their country. And it leads to a disconnect between the current leadership and the future leadership of a country. And so last year, we were thrilled to officially launch the Young Leaders Roundtable Initiative, which is a partnership between the YCLA and the Cayman Islands government that the Honourable Premier, Mr. Alden McLaughlin, agreed to chair. The Young Leaders Roundtable brings our young leaders together with the Premier and others in government to meet on a quarterly basis to discuss the issues of the day. And it gives our young leaders the opportunity not only to hear from the Premier, but also to give the Premier the perspective of our country's youth, so that together they can make a tangible difference to the future of our country. This initiative has promoted, and it will continue to promote, greater youth engagement in the future direction of the country, and it will provide an outlet for all young leaders to be a force for change in their community. The Premier and the Deputy Premier recently had a really good meeting with last year's 5 YCLA finalists. And once again, we'd like to thank the Premier and the Cayman Islands government for being so proactive in embracing this idea and leading it forward. And although the Premier was not able to make it here this evening, we were able to catch up with him earlier this week to have a quick chat about the initiative. So I'm here at the Government Administration Building with the Premier here, who's agreed to talk to us for a few minutes about leadership. He isn't able to make it this evening, but wanted to share some of his thoughts on leadership. Mr. Premier, thank you so much for joining us and for agreeing to do this interview. You've been a big supporter of the YCLA for many years, and one of the recent initiatives that you have embraced is the new Young Caymanian Leaders Roundtable, which we've just introduced this year. Why did you feel it's so important to introduce an initiative like this and to support our young Caymanian leaders?
Well, one of my great concerns right across the piece really is the lack of what I call succession planning generally. You know, sooner or later, those of us of my age are going to leave the scene, walk off the stage, and we need to do everything we possibly can to ensure that our shoes are filled and that they are Caymanian young people who have adequate skills and experience and drive and ambition to take over the many leadership roles that are required in a country like the Cayman Islands.
Great, thank you. And you alluded to the many leadership roles that are required in order to continue to make the Cayman Islands the prosperous nation that it is. And I think what some of our finalists this evening, and certainly a lot of the finalists in the past years, what they've done throughout their sort of young lives as leaders is really getting involved to help other young Caymanians who maybe aren't going the same path they're going, and to actually help them to become better people. And that's the genesis of our theme this evening, actually, which is it takes a village. And I think our leaders tonight and leaders in the past on the YCLA have certainly embraced that role to get involved in trying to mentor young leaders. So what are your thoughts in terms of it takes a village and how young people today can get a start in their leadership careers by assisting other young Caymanians?
Well, whether we call it leadership or mentorship, I think it's very important that we expose young people to opportunities to demonstrate how they can help to influence the lives of other people, particularly other young people. And I know in my case and in the case of many, it is the opportunities we've had working through organizations such as Scouts and Girls Brigade and Leos and Rotaract, and then on to Lions and Rotary, that have helped me and many of my peers develop leadership skills and the confidence and the ability to influence thought, which is I think, at the core of leadership.
And thanks again to the Premier for embracing the initiative, and look forward to welcoming our new finalists to the table going forward. So we could not make a night like this happen, ladies and gentlemen, without the generous support of all our partners and sponsors who understand at the core why celebrating those who choose to lead by example, inspire others to do the same, and make a tangible difference in our community. And so over the course of this evening, I'll be thanking our valuable sponsors, without who we wouldn't be here this evening. And so firstly, our sincere gratitude goes out to our 2018 title sponsor, DART, for the many years of support of the YCLA program. DART's continued support for this program is a testament to their continued commitment to the growth and development of young Caymanians, and we're very appreciative of all they do in our community. And we heard earlier from each of our... Thank you. We heard earlier from each of our 5 finalists, but I know they all recently caught up with our videographer to record a short clip about who they are and about what they do in the community. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy our first YCLA finalist video and meet Miss Casey Mobley.
I was a really shy child. I'm still quite shy. So I found myself more stepping out in leadership roles when there was some kind of injustice being done, when someone was being bullied at school or there was some kind of need that needed to be met. That's what motivated me. I do strive to do a lot of community service. I don't think of it as community service, I just kind of think of it as how I live my life. So some of the things that I've been involved with just in the last few years has been Generation 412. Generation 412 is a nonprofit Christian ministry that seeks to empower youth and young adults, and they can learn about the love of God and they can learn how to love one another. The family is foundational to our society. So I think anything that we can do to create healthy families that nurture and protect children as they're being raised is critical. One of my greatest passions has to do with being available and being a source of support for people in our society that come from very dysfunctional situations, and being able to empower them to fulfill their potential and to believe that they have potential. And so my priority really has to do with just being a source of light and encouragement in their lives.
Thank you, Casey. I'd now like to recognize and thank KPMG for their continued support and sponsorship of the YCLA program. They've been on board as a major sponsor for a few years now and are great supporters of everything the YCLA does. KPMG is another example of a local company that supports the growth and development of young Caymanians in the workplace. And I'd like to thank them very much again for their support this evening. So thank you, Kevin, and all the partners and staff of KPMG. Thank you. And now for our second YCLA finalist video, let me introduce you to Mr. Samuel Young.
By the age of 10, my mother made me set up a lemonade stand. I had 2 locations in West Bay. I sold out all the lemonade, but I think selling lemonade at that point, I felt like someone who would chart their own course. I think at this point, World Gym is pretty much a household name in terms of health and fitness in Cayman. Since I've become a business owner, and it's a great business, and it's a business that people can easily identify, I've inspired other young people along the way. Hey, I have this dream, you inspired me, I had no idea, keep going. So they push me personally, and it steams me even more to know that I'm inspiring other young people to believe in themselves. I had to believe in myself, right? I didn't have a direct contact to turn to. I didn't ask anybody else, what should I do for the rest of my life? I decided, right? That's a choice that I made personally, and I took it seriously. I persevered, I had to believe in myself, I had to plan effectively to get to where I'm at today. So I'd like people to know that my journey is of my own merit, and if I can do it, you can do it on your own merit too.
Thank you very much, Sam. So in the very early years of YCLA, a core group of supporters helped make the vision of showcasing Caymanian leadership a reality. The foster family support has been invaluable over the years, and we'd like to thank Progressive and the foster family for their ongoing support of the YCLA. And the elegance and the beauty of the decor this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is a fitting backdrop for our young leaders. Miss Joanne Brown and the team at Celebrations have once again done an outstanding job decorating the room this evening and designing the set for this evening's event. And we also want to thank them very much. And we'll now move on to our third finalist video. Please meet Miss Kimberly Connolly.
I would say about 12. That was a turning point in my life because I had 3 younger siblings that I had to essentially take care of as a mother. Making executive decisions at that early age, I just felt that that primed me with my first leadership opportunity. I did not have an easy start, and I see how people intervening in my life to say, you have potential, you can do it, just believe in yourself. What a difference it's made in my life. So I want to pay that forward to make sure that another child is out there to know that someone believes in them despite what they have going on around them. The most important part of leadership is to listen. We have a lot of big projects going on and people have different opinions. But if you listen, not to rebut or to respond, but listen to understand the different perspectives of how people feel, then I just feel that that will be important to the development of our country. Following your dreams is extremely important. If you want to be an artist, follow that dream. Whatever you decide to do, be excellent. Pursue excellence.
Thank you, Kim. Later this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be inviting a representative from PwC to come up on stage to hand me the envelope with the name of our 2018 recipient. But this time, I'd like to recognize and thank PwC for their continued support and for their willingness to coordinate the tabulation of the judges' votes. PwC have been a long-term supporter of YCLA, and we'd like to thank them for their continued support and involvement in the YCLA. It's very much appreciated. Kensington Management are also back on board again this year as a sponsor, and we want to thank them again for their continued support of the program. And also supporting us again this year is Stone Island, and we'd again like to thank them for their continued support, and certainly would encourage all of you to go out to the Yacht Club and look at the amazing properties there at Stone Island. Truly a fantastic development. And so now for our fourth YCLA finalist video, please meet Mr. Wilbur Welcome.
I do the things that I do because I see a need and I try to fill that need. There's no task that I think is beneath me, so I try to lead by example. So I think that's my greatest trait. The boys program is called Anchors. It's Anchored Christians Boys Club, and it's a program where you have spiritual, educational, physical, and service. It's great fun, but in all of it, we're teaching them camaraderie and basic kindness to each other, how to treat each other, what to say, what not to say. And we feel if we can be positive role models in their lives from now, hopefully we can influence them in some way, shape, or form in a positive manner. Specifically, we created the boys program because it's a Christian-based program, which we feel is something that I know in the 21st century it's not trendy to be religious, but I'm a proud Christian, and I think there's a lot of good stories in the Bible that teach basic traits that all individuals should have. So I do the things I do because I think they fill a need in society, and I'm serving others when I do them.
Thank you, Wilbur. The Ritz-Carlton team are back with us again tonight, and they continue to support the YCLA each year, not only being present every year at the event, but also as a loyal supporter throughout the year. So I'd like to thank Mark Longevan and the ladies and gentlemen at the Ritz-Carlton for their continued support. And this year, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new sponsor, and delighted to welcome Grant Thornton to the YCLA family. Grant Thornton are an organization that are investing heavily in the community, and particularly into the development of Caymanian youth. And so I'd like to thank Dara and the team at Grant Thornton for coming on board as a sponsor this year. Thank you. And now we'll move on to our final finalist video. Please meet Miss Stacey Scott.
I'm actually a triplet, so I'm the oldest by 2 minutes, which counts, I suppose. So you can be whatever you want to be, and as you move through life, you will have the chance to impact so many people, and whatever you do, leave them better than you found them. The path to success doesn't mean destroying everything along the way. True leaders, true role models are the people who pull others with them. Growing up, I was very, very fortunate to have a lot of selfless people invest in me. My mom is a nurse, and she would literally work 12-hour shifts, come home, and sit with me and my sisters and do homework. It took a lot to work a very demanding, physically, emotionally, profession, and to come home and still dig deep within yourself and find that extra piece together. That's what pushes me. I'm like, you know what? If she could do it, why can't I? In the 24 hours that we have, we can do so much more than we think we can, right? There are people all over Cayman, who really need someone to get behind them, who need someone to say to them, you know what, I have faith in you. You know what, you can do this. You are loved. And yeah, why not me? You know, why not you? Why not each of us?
Thank you, Stacey. So our final shout-out sponsor shout-out for this evening goes to Broadhurst Attorneys and to the Hanson family for all their help over the years. Broadhurst has been the YCLA's attorneys from the outset, and they've been a great supporter of the program over the years. So thanks very much to Peter, Kyle, and their team for all their support. And also thanks very much to the Hanson family who have been involved in the YCLA since inception and continue to be staunch supporters and contributors to the cause. Thanks to our founder Jackie and to Rod, and also to Vanessa, who's on the side of the stage here helping with the production. Thank you to the Hanson family. So once again, a huge thank you to all our sponsors. As I said, we couldn't do this tonight. We couldn't do our programs throughout the year without all our sponsors. Thank you all very, very much. So it's now my absolute pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you to tonight's incredible keynote speaker. Spencer West is an author and motivational speaker who has tackled challenge after challenge, learning to navigate in a world set against those with disabilities. Spencer is a global speaker, a best-selling author, and star of the 2012 documentary film Redefine Possible, the story of Spencer West. Spencer redefines possible in his daily life. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He's trekked from Edmonton to Calgary in his wheelchair and on his hands to raise awareness for clean water projects. That's a trek of 300 kilometers, or 187 miles. And he leads youth and adult trips overseas, and he speaks to audiences all over the world. He's truly a remarkable human being, ladies and gentlemen, and we're really delighted to have him with us here this evening as our keynote speaker. So please join me in welcoming to the stage one of the more remarkable and inspirational speakers you will ever hear, our 2018 YCLA keynote speaker, Mr. Spencer West.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. While he exits, can we give Chris a big round of applause, our amazing host for this evening? Thank you, sir. And one more congratulations to all the nominees tonight. A big round of applause to all 5, please. For everybody here in the room and those watching at home, I am really honored to be here tonight. Thank you for inviting me. What a beautiful place to spend this evening. I'm really excited. Just going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Now, my name is Spencer West, and what I wanted to do with our time together is just share a little bit of my journey and the village that it took to get me to where I am today. Because no one gets anywhere on their own, as you heard from so many of the incredible folks here tonight. So what I thought I would do is start by just addressing the elephant in the room. We'll get the awkwardness out of the way. That no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. These are new glasses. And that I obviously don't have any legs. I was born with legs, but I was born with a genetic disease that caused the muscles in my legs not to work. So at the age of 2, one sec. Is there an on button? There we go. Thank you. So at the age of, so I was born with legs, but at the age of 2, they removed at the knee in hopes that I could use artificial legs and get around that way. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So then at the age of 5, they removed just below my pelvis, which is basically what you see now. Now, after my surgeries, my family and I were told by the doctors that I would never sit up by myself, that I would never walk by myself, and that I probably wouldn't be a functioning member of society. At best, I would lead an inactive and uninspired life, and my family should get me involved in things like music and reading and math right away. But my family and I refused to believe that. So we set out to prove to not only ourselves, but the rest of the world, that I could be just like everybody else. Now, I currently live in Toronto, Canada, where I work for an organization called We, but I'm originally from the United States. Please don't hold that against me. And I had what I considered to be a normal childhood. I never thought I was different until I went out in public. And then every time I went out in public, everybody else around me made me feel different. The first 3 questions I used to get, not only as a kid, but even as an adult today, before anybody even asks me my name, are where are your legs, how do you go to the bathroom, and can you drive a car? I mean, imagine coming to an evening like this, meeting somebody for the first time, shaking their hand and saying, oh, nice to meet you. How do you go to the bathroom? It's a little embarrassing, right? What I began to realize is the people, they weren't seeing me as a person. They were just seeing me as this guy without legs. So in order to get them to see past that, I had to start answering some of these questions, whether I wanted to or not. So I would tell people how I lost my legs. I go to the bathroom just like everyone else. Thank you for being so concerned. And of course I can drive a car. I've got these wicked hand controls that are connected to the gas and the brake pedal, so I can push the pedals with one hand and steer with the other. But I wanted to be known for more than just that. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else. When we first meet each other, we see each other in the physical form. But it's what we do after that that's important. So of course, I don't have any legs, and I'll tell you how I lost them. But I'd rather be known that my name is Spencer West. That I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a son, I'm a grandson. I became an uncle a few years ago. These are my nephews, wait for it. Aren't they so cute? And all of these things make up who I am, just like all the things that each and every one of you care about make up who you are. Now, for me, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life thus far is the importance of asking for help. And I learned this lesson the first time when I graduated university. Now, I was the first person out of my entire family to go to university. I studied at Westminster College in Salt Lake City, Utah in the States. I got a degree in communication, and I got out into the real world, and I had the North American dream. I had a good paying job, I had some money, I had a car, I had some clothes, I had all the latest gadgets. That's what I was told that I needed to be happy. And once I had all those things, I wasn't any happier than I was before. And to be honest, I thought, did I fail at life? And if I failed at life, does that mean that I'm not a functioning member of society? And so I thought, well, I guess this is it. You just settle for money and stuff. So for 4 years, I just existed. Day in and day out going to work. But after 4 years, I couldn't take it anymore. And in December of 2007, a good friend of mine called and invited me to go on a volunteer trip to Kenya with this organization, We, to help build a school. And at first, I was like, what? I told my friend, he said, remember, standing on my hands, I'm 2'7" tall. I'm pretty sure that's a snack to half the animals in Kenya. And I don't want to be Meals on Wheels, thank you. And I hung up the phone. But I realized that if I was truly going to start a new journey, I needed to step outside of my comfort zone and take a risk. So in March of 2008, I went to Kenya. And it was a life-changing experience. In East Africa, I learned about this organization, that I now work for. I learned that it's this incredible group that inspires people to change the world on the things that they care about. Now, I saw the work that they were doing through their international development model, and the moment that changed everything for me is when we arrived at one of the new schools. And literally 200 kids came running out, and they circled around me, and they were laughing and giggling and pointing, talking a mile-a-minute language I had no idea what they were saying. We sat on the grass, and I answered every question that they could ever think of. Where was I from? How did I get here? Where were my legs? Did I leave them in the United States? But at the end, after I'd answered all their questions, a young girl raised her hand. She looked at me, and in Swahili, the language I speak in East Africa, she said, "Sukuja hiyo kitu, ingafanyika wazungu pia." And translated into English, she said, "I didn't know that this sort of thing, meaning the loss of my legs, could also happen to white people too." And for me, that one phrase changed my entire journey. It helped me recognize how I could use my story to empower other people to look at challenges differently, but more importantly, to empower people to get involved with something that they were passionate about. I thought on the flip side, maybe I could use this on behalf of this organization. Now, the piece that I don't tell very often about that story is that none of that would have happened had I not asked for help. I had reached out to my friends and family, and it was my friend that invited me to go to Kenya. And I thought I was going to go there to help build a school and help this community, which we did. But I walked away feeling like they helped me way more than I helped them. And when I came back to North America, I couldn't go back to my normal life. Those kids had quickly become my friends and family, and I owed it to them. I had to do something bigger than just tell my community about what I'd done. So I stalked their website until I saw they were hiring for a speaker. I flew out to Toronto for an interview. A few months later, packed up my entire life, which is actually still in my parents' basement in Wyoming, where I grew up. I was only going to be in Canada for 2 years. It's been 10. And I became a motivational speaker and ambassador for the organization. So during the year, I travel speaking. And then during the summer, I host our volunteer trips and take families and corporations and young people to places like Kenya and India to have a similar experience like I had when I went to East Africa. And it was a few summers ago in India with a group of about 25 students that had learned this idea of asking for help a second time in a much different way. It was towards the end of our trip in India, and we were taking the students to a place called Mount Abu, which is the tallest mountain in the state of Rajasthan in which we work. And at the top is a place called Guru Shikar, where there's a beautiful Jain temple. And we were going to take the students to have a cultural experience and just celebrate building a school in the heat of India. And when we got to the top, and I jumped out of the bus, in front of me, and I don't know why we didn't think about this, in order to get to the top were over 1,000 cement stairs. The students were getting off the bus, they're looking at me, they're looking at the stairs, we're all sort of panicking together. And as we're panicking, 2 local men come walking by with this large wooden pole that they're holding behind their heads. And hanging from this pole is a platform with some pillows. And they said, "Would anybody like a ride to the top?" Well, it was like a movie. Everybody's head turned and looked at me. And I was like, "Come on, guys, people are staring at me not having any legs, and now you want me to ride on this platform like some sort of Cirque du Soleil performer?" I don't think so. But I realized in that moment that if I was truly going to lead those students to the top, I was going to need to swallow my pride and accept help. So I climbed on that platform, and they carried me to the top. And we got to the top, and the view was amazing. We toured the temple, and then there was a beautiful brass bell that we were told to make a wish and then ring 3 times. Now, because I'm obviously so short, I just stood back and I watched the students ring the bell. But as I stood there, I thought, "Spencer, what are you doing? You've never let anything stop you before, so what's stopping you now? Why not just ask for help?" And that's when I turned to my friend and co-facilitator, Andrea, and I said, "Would you mind helping me ring the bell when the students are done?" She just said, "Oh my gosh, of course not." They finished, we went over, she knelt down and put my arms around her neck. She slowly stood up, and I rang that bell 3 times. And as that sound echoed through the mountains, I realized one of the most important lessons I could have taught those students that entire journey is that a true leader knows when to ask for help. It shows your humanity, it shows courage, and it rallies people around a specific problem. Now, because I've learned this lesson over and over and over again, I thought I should probably put it into practice, at least for the big things. I still struggle a little bit with the little things. Now, Halfway through my journey with We, the organization I work for, I was feeling guilty because I was traveling, speaking, telling folks, you need to get involved, take action on the things that you care about. But I was just talking about it, and I wasn't actually doing it. And so a few years ago, I came up with this wild idea to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and my goal was to raise $500,000 for clean water in East Africa, who at the time was facing one of the largest droughts they'd seen in over 60 years. Now, I knew that if I was going to climb the largest mountain in Africa, I was going to need help. So I asked my two best friends if they would come with me, and they said yes. And I'm really grateful that they did. We campaigned for an entire year, and in June of 2012, we set out to climb Kilimanjaro, and the hope was I was going to do half on my hands and half in my wheelchair. But I want to show you in a quick video what the first day on Kilimanjaro actually looked like. This is actually easier.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Your machine, Spence. Your machine, buddy.
30 minutes down, 300 to go.
His training was for a wheelchair. We knew there was going to be parts where you'd have to walk in your hands. But it's looking like 80-20 hands right now, which is a scary thought.
It'll be okay. Just, there's no rush.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah. Tired, man.
Terrain changes really quickly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You think you're good for a bit, and then the next step, it's just completely steep with rocks.
Woo! And we made it before it got dark.
Woo! Yes, just barely.
Last one. So that was the first day of 8.5 days. And needless to say, my buddies and I panicked because that's not what I had trained for. And I'll never forget, we got to camp that night, and our guide said, look up over the trees, and because I'm so short, my buddy picked me up, and he was like, look off in the distance, there's Kilimanjaro. And we were like, what? We thought we were on it, it's over there? Again, needless to say, my buddies and I panicked. But I was really grateful that my friends said that they would come with me when I asked for their help because I needed it. They were amazing at saying encouraging words like just a few more steps, keep going, it's really inspiring to watch you walk. When I felt like I couldn't go any further, they would literally help carry me above their head. When I felt like I couldn't go any further and needed to give my arms a bit of a break, they would help push me in my wheelchair. In fact, one of the days, one of the porters who was normally carrying our stuff had wrapped me in a blanket and tied me to his back and was carrying me that way. And while I was being carried, my buddy Dave was in this photo here, came up behind me, and he said, listen, Spence, I'm only going to say this to you once, but you look really cute. Now, I knew that not having any legs and trying to climb the largest mountain in Africa, I was going to need help. But what I didn't anticipate is that on summit day, the day that we would get to the top, the roles would be reversed. And my buddies would need my help. Because around 18,000 feet, they got hit with massive altitude sickness. And I was in that small percentage of people where it didn't bother me at all. We joke it's because of my height, but I don't know if that's real. I watched my two best friends get headache, dizziness, nausea so much so they were literally throwing up on the side of the mountain. I literally watched my support system crumble to their knees before me. And in that moment, I thought a couple things. I thought, well, maybe this is it. Maybe we just give up and go back. Is it really worth this? It was also the first time in my entire life where I wished that I had legs that day. Because if I had legs now, I could be the one to carry my friends like they had carried me. But I don't have legs. So instead I did what my parents taught me, and that was to focus on the things that I could do. My buddies kept saying, it's really inspiring to watch you walk, and I thought if that's all that I can do, then I will do that to the best of my ability. At the time, I was still being carried by one of the porters because it was really important for me. I wanted to save my strength so I could walk the last half on my own. But when I saw my friend struggling, I said, you need to put me down. And he said, no, we'll go a little bit further. And I said, no, you need to put me down right now. And I stood in between my two best friends, and I said, this journey started with the three of us, and it's going to end with the three of us. And this is what happened next.
Through the night, so it seems I'm not brave. we started to head up the mountain to Uhuru Peak. And that was a shock. It was snow, all snow.
I think I'm breaking down.
Remember I told you guys back in Toronto, it's going to go to a point where it's physically demanding, and then it's going to go mental push. Take those steps, those final steps. And you guys are experiencing it now.
And both Alex and Dave were really struggling. Alex was like falling to his knees.
You're okay.
And every step was excruciating.
Look, guys, just a little bit further, we can make it.
I was exhausted. My arms were killing me. My hands were numb from standing on them. We walked so far, and I just tried to muster up everything that I had left.
Someone come and save my life.
I'm gonna make it, guys. This is for every kid that has been bullied. This is for every kid who's had a disability and felt like they couldn't do things or didn't belong. This is for every person who felt they couldn't change the world. This is for every person who feel like they were lost on their journey. This is for every person who has ever tried to figure out what their life is about. I was told I would never walk or be a functioning member of society. And I'm at the top of the largest freestanding mountain in Africa. This is for you.
So hand over hand and foot over foot. Thank you. We walked until we made it to the top, and we collapsed and cried, and we're a group of men that isn't afraid to cry. And we also celebrated because not only did we make it to the top, but we'd actually raised well over our goal, which provided clean water to 12,500 people for life in 2 communities in East Africa. Now, more importantly than that, though, thank you. None of that would have happened had I not asked for help and had I not offered it. I went on to do some other campaigns. As you heard, with my buddies, I did another campaign called We Walk for Water, where we walk between 2 cities across Western Canada to raise awareness about how far girls and women have to walk to collect water every single day. The following year, I jumped in a tour bus and drove coast to coast across Canada, taking the spotlight off of me and thanking local Canadians for the work that they were doing. Then the following year, I actually got to go on tour with a dear friend of mine named Demi Lovato, who invited me on her world tour, where I opened for her shows every single night to bring this message to her concerts, because she wanted to change the way people do rock concerts forever, and that it's also about a message and the things that they care about too. And then recently, I started my own YouTube channel to sort of bring this message to a wider audience, and we do daily vlogs and some videos, and I brought just a quick, short, little fun clip of some of the things that we do. So here's the reason that I just told you all of those things. It's not because I want you to think I'm cool, maybe the Demi Lovato thing a little bit. I wanted to make the world a better place. And it's up to each and every one of us to exercise that ability and that responsibility to do so. And I wanted to prove and use myself as an example that based on having a physical disability, if I can still do it, everybody else here has the same ability to do so. And it's important for us to do that on a daily basis. And what I'm so honored to be here tonight is we get to hear from, thank, and then of course, congratulate one of the 5 winners who've all already won by showing that they have the same ability, showing their community right here in Cayman that they can make a difference too. and that it has to be every single day through the things that you care about. There's been a beautiful plethora of causes and things that every individual person is partaking in. And if we all do that, that's how we make the world a little bit better of a place. The world, to me, feels a little uneasy right now. And if we all start to take that and follow in these 5 incredible folks' footsteps, that's how we make a difference. That's how we make the world a better place. And that's how we redefine possible. So for myself, I feel really honored and humbled to just say thank you to all of you here tonight, but more specifically to the 5 incredible folks that are working so hard to make this community and the global community a little bit better of a place. I am so grateful, and congratulations to all 5 of you, and thank you so much for allowing me to come share a bit of my story with you today. I really, really appreciate it, and good luck. Thank you. Well, that's very nice, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Spencer. What an amazing, amazing speech. And I think we can all now go back to our homes, our jobs, to our families, and to our colleagues, and we really can redefine what is possible in our daily lives. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Spencer West. I know we're running a little bit behind time, but he was showing the YouTube videos, and I know he made one earlier today out on the beach with his swimming. I know they were out jet skiing, so I'm looking forward to seeing your latest YouTube video, Spencer. Can't wait to see that. But thank you very much. So the amount of work, ladies and gentlemen, that it takes to put on an event of this size is significant, and I'd like to thank all of my colleagues on the YCLA board who've contributed to this evening's event. But a very special thank you goes out to our YCLA administrator and our 2016 YCLA recipient, Brianna Wilkerson. She's done the lion's share of the work this evening, really has done a remarkable job pulling together tonight's event. So I'd like to publicly recognize Brianna for all that she's done, and I'd like to ask our board member, I believe Sheena, who's going to just present Brianna with a small token of our appreciation. I'm not sure where Brianna is. Where's Sheena? Brianna, come on up. It's a very small token, apparently. Anyway, thank you very much, Brianna, for all that you've done. That small token is somewhere in the house, and we'll get it to you. But thank you very much for all that you've done, and thank you, Sheena. Brianna actually will be leaving the island shortly, and so on behalf of all of us, I'd like to wish Brianna and her husband all the very best as they start their new adventure. So our 2017 YCLA recipient, Faith Geely, has been a true ambassador of the YCLA program, having spoken to thousands of young people at the numerous speaking engagements that she's participated in, and she's reached over 15,000 people through her speeches, media appearances, and online. It's our pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you, or reintroduce to you, a remarkable young lady who personifies exactly what Young Caymanian leadership is all about. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, for her year in review, our 2017 YCLA recipient, Ms. Faith Geely.
Good night, everybody. And boy, what an act to follow. I mean, geez. Can we just give it up again for Mr. Spencer West? Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story of abilities. Thank you. Last time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 1 year ago, I leaned over to the finalists next to me and I said, "Get your speech ready." Only instead of their name, my name was called. I didn't expect to be named the 2017 recipient, but it was an honor that I embraced so I could use the year to inspire our community to embrace the importance of mentorship in all stages and forms. In my acceptance speech, I issued a challenge for everyone in that room and everyone watching at home to commit 1 hour a week over the next year to mentorship. 52 hours for 52 weeks. And while the formal response to the challenge waned, there continue to be individuals who are inspired to take up the mantle of mentorship and give back to our community in meaningful and profound ways. I'm proud to say that I was able to complete the 52-hour challenge while working, being a mom, maintaining my community commitments, and speaking to over 16,000 people via a variety of media outlets. So if I can do it, so can you. Thank you. Consider yourselves challenged once again this year. I have given my fair share of speeches, but I was able to do something much more than just talk. I was able to connect with the people that I interacted with during this journey in a way that not only benefited the people that I shared with, but also impacted me in a personal and very powerful, life-changing way. Connecting with our community, it's more than just speeches. It's using a science experiment to show how important it is to feed our minds and our spirits with positivity. It's encouraging a budding chef to keep trying at that recipe until they get it just right. It's reading those toddlers just one more story and maybe just one more again. Or letting those school children stir that cornbread batter just one more time. It is missing out on lunch because everyone is going to get their hug before I go. It is showing each of the people in our community that they matter, that they are valued, and that there is someone who is in their corner. This year showed me that our children are hungry for connection. They are starving for attention, and what they desire the most is not the latest tablet or gadget, but it is a connection with someone who can quench their thirst for mentorship. Contrary to popular belief, mentorship is not about being formal. It's about being present and authentic in your pursuit of connection. Mentorship occurs at any age and any stage. So spend time volunteering with your child's school or join your company's junior achievement team. Be a big brother or big sister. They always need help. Volunteer to be a youth worker at your church. Be the someone who can feed into the confidence of young people and fan the embers that glow within them until they burn bright with the passion for their purpose. That is what mentorship is all about. And I am so blessed to have been able to share my experiences, my knowledge, and most of all, my passion for mentoring with the next generation of Caymanians over the past year. I want to end my last speech as the 2017 recipient with gratitude to my friends, to my family, and to my employer for their unwavering understanding and support over the past year, with a special thank you to the YCLF. I will forever be grateful to the YCLF for their commitment to showcasing the young, homegrown leaders in our community and for the opportunity to share my gifts with our village over the past year. And now the time has come for me to pass the baton over to one of our very deserving finalists being honored this evening. Casey, Samuel, Wilbur, Stacy, Kimberly, you all have platforms that can help make our village a stronger, healthier, and more resilient home for the next generation. Although only one of you will be named the recipient tonight, it is important for you all to know that each of you have made a positive impact on your community, and that is why you are all being honored here tonight. My fervent wish for each of you is that regardless of who is named the 2018 YCLA recipient, that you will continue to contribute to and strengthen our beautiful community for years to come. Thank you all so much for a wonderful year, and have a beautiful night.
Well done, stay up. Well done. Good job. Thank you very much, Faith. You certainly ended the year as you began it with some inspirational words, so thank you very much. And we have a small token of appreciation for Faith. I'd like to invite Katie Merrin-Pentney up to just present that to Faith. Congratulations, Faith, on an amazing year. Thank you very much, Katie. And apparently, Brianna, if you can come out real quick, we've found the missing small token. So once again, Brianna, thank you very much for all your work. They were in water. All right. So the YCLA, ladies and gentlemen, is awarded to young Caymanians between the ages of 20 and 35. The campaign is open for any member of the community to nominate a suitable candidate for consideration. A subcommittee of YCLA alumni review each nomination, and the 5 finalists are then selected. They are then interviewed on videotape where personal attributes such as communication skills, personality, and leadership potential are evaluated. Board members with close relations to any of the finalists remove themselves from the screening process, and the final scoring is then done by a way of confidential ballot, with the results tabulated and verified by a third party, thanks this year to PwC. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the evening that we've all been waiting for. I'd like to ask Joanne Seminara from PwC to come to the stage with the envelope that contains the recipient's name. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And as is tradition, the name of the YCLA recipient has been a carefully guarded secret until it's announced live right here in just a few seconds. Thank you very much again, Joanne. Thank you also again to PwC for tabulating results. So, ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 2018 Young Caymanian Leadership Award is Stacey Scott. Congratulations. Good job.
Wow, okay. Good evening, everyone. It is such an honor to stand here tonight, and especially among such amazing finalists. The last couple months have been a complete whirlwind, but I'm certain I speak for all of us in saying that it's been an experience that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. I'll start out with a bit of a confession for you guys. When I first started to try to write this speech, I had no idea what I wanted to say that would somehow be worthy of the audience and the significance of this event. I was sitting in my office at work earlier this week, looking around, speaking to my friends, and something caught my eye. I have a couple paintings hanging on the walls. They're by local artist Gordon Solomon. One is depicting older Caymanian men turtling at Smith Cove years and years ago, and the other one is very special to me. It was my Christmas present from my family last year. It's a scene I saw very often growing up in the Brack. It's my grandmother sweeping the sand in her front yard with a rosemary broom. And it made me think of the Cayman of days gone by that we spoke about earlier, and more specifically, in light of this year's theme, the village that raised us and worked to make Cayman what it is today. My grandparents, 2 of whom are sitting here tonight, actually right over there, like many of yours as well, I'm sure. They flew in from the Brack this morning. They are 2 of the most hardworking people I know, and when I look back on the qualities that have made them and Cayman successful, 3 things really stand out. 1, people who stayed curious and were willing to learn and work hard. 2, people who were eager to share their time, knowledge, and encouragement with others. And 3, people who acted with integrity in all that they did. I honestly think this has made all the difference, and as we look to the future and work as a unit within our new Caymanian village, I want to encourage us all, but especially our young people, to hold fast to the truths our forefathers held dear. That, despite our size and any perceived limitations, we can in fact do anything. That a big part of that is because there is nothing we cannot learn and master in time if we are willing. And perhaps most importantly of all, that we should always strive to live a life we are proud of and leave people better than we found them. In the excitement, glitz, and glamour of tonight, it is important that we all remember that the work that our village must do is not always exciting or glitzy or glamorous. Growing up, I remember being told in school that Cayman was one of few countries with little natural resources in their traditional way of thinking. But what we have is more precious than any metal or fuel or crop. Our natural resources are our young people, and they are counting on us to love, support, and mold them. There are so many incredible organizations here in Cayman that quietly go about doing remarkable work for our youth. I know many people in the audience are already involved, and for that we thank you. If you have been wanting to get involved and have been waiting for a sign or the right moment, now is that time, please. I challenge you all to give even 1 hour a week of your time to a young person, as Faith said. Listen to their fears and insecurities, help them with their homework, assure them that they are enough, and that they are capable, and that they are worthy. I'm standing in front of you tonight because someone believed in me, and they didn't just take time to tell me, they took time to show me. My family, who are my biggest supporters and cheerleaders even today, my teachers at Weston Primary School and what is now Lehman E. Scott Senior High School in the BRAC, professors at Elon University, and a host of colleagues at KPMG. I'm hesitant to name names, as I know I'll always forget someone, but a huge thank you to all of you. I may not have realized it in the moment, but your involvement in my life and journey has made all the difference. A couple years ago, I had the opportunity to travel to Uganda with colleagues from various KPMG offices all over the world to partner with a youth-led development agency and nonprofit by the name of Restless Development. The team I worked with was based in a small town called Jinja, which sits on Lake Victoria and is famous for being the birthplace of the Nile. At one point, we took a drive in an open-bed truck through rural Uganda, passing several villages as we went. At each village we crossed, the scene was much the same. Everyone was working hard, focused on the task at hand, but the children, especially the younger ones, were different. They weren't quite sure who or what we were, but they knew we were exciting and different, and potentially worth exploring. They chased us, quite literally, until we were out of sight. The best villages do that. They create an atmosphere where children are nurtured, protected, and secure in the knowledge that they are free to explore and that home will always welcome them back with open arms. In Uganda or Cayman, that is what we should aim for. Children who are happy, content, supported, eager to learn about new things, and free to run, literally or figuratively, after the unknown. I'm so excited to see what we can do together. Thank you, God bless you, and good night.
Thank you very much, Stacey. Congratulations again, Stacey, and congratulations to all of our finalists this evening. You're all incredible, inspirational leaders. Congratulations. Look forward to welcoming you to the YCLA family and working with you going forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you here with us at the Kimpton, our night is just beginning. Dinner is served. For everyone who is tuned in live on Cayman 33, Channel 33, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you all very much for watching us, and those streaming, thank you all very much. The night is coming to an end, so congratulations again to Stacey Scott, our 2018 YCLA recipient. Good night, everybody.